Vertigo Nation, welcome back to another Vertigo podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. And like I say every episode, if you're new here, go ahead right now, take a few seconds and hit that subscribe button. It's much appreciated. Sorry, I'm messing with my mic. So much appreciated. So first thing, let's clear up some stuff. I dropped an episode just before this one and deleted it. And I'm going to tell you why. It wasn't that I was necessarily unhappy with the content of the episode. I was absolutely fine with that. I just felt like I went on too much of a rant. And it was just a really good and healthy reminder not to record a podcast when you're just in a dopamine crash. Because that's what it was feeling like. I just was feeling down, out. I had a pretty stressful week. Whatever, fixing the hair. Yeah, there you go. Gotta look good on these podcasts, man. Gotta look good. Gotta keep it suave. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, so it was just one of those things where I listened back to it and I was like, this is rambling too much. And, so I didn't have a problem with the honesty. There was a few people who did listen to it. Thank you. So I didn't take it down out of disappointment of the content as much as I took it down because I just didn't like the quality. And I felt like I just rambled too much. And one of the things about doing solo podcasts, it's hard to not just get on a rant. I don't want to get on a rant. I want to talk about what we're talking about, and then that's it. Nobody wants to hear me ramble. That I don't know why you would want to hear anybody ramble in that regard. Anyway, so that's why I took it down. So, but I am going to talk about like just my headspace. For those who did listen to it, again, I appreciate it. Just was, it's been a weird week, man. Just a lot of emotional highs and emotional lows. And I think, it reached kind of like a fever pitch for me and then I didn't want to disappoint my listeners of the show. I wanted to keep up with doing the weekly, episode drops, and I recorded the episode just feeling blah and not in a very good headspace. And I just felt like the pod just kind of rambled on and so just wasn't good. So it was a good reminder for me though. And I think for all of us, when you're having those, it's okay to take a break. At the end of the day, this is a hobby, I enjoy that there's listeners. I want there to be listeners. I wouldn't do it for any other reason, obviously, other than because I believe that there are people, who this show caters to. Obviously, that's why there's listeners, right? And so, whatever, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, whatever. It just was a good reminder that sometimes it's okay to not record an episode. And I will give myself that grace. I think my fear, honestly, though, is for me, once I skip once, it's so easy to skip again, and then I disappear. And I've really worked hard to build Vertigo's brand, and I want to keep it fresh and legit. So I'm going to try to make sure that I stay on top of it. But at the same time, like, I have to admit, like, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to walk away for a day or two and then come back. And that's probably what I should have done in that case. So for those who did listen to it before I took it down, thank you. And for those who didn't get to hear it, you're honestly not missing anything. It was just a lot of rambling and ranting about me just not being in a good mental health space. And again, so really what I want to talk about today then is it's important to do that self-care. It really is important to give yourself a break and give yourself some grace. And that's one of the things that I'm not very good at. I am my worst critique. I don't give myself a lot of grace. And I am definitely one of those people who it just I'm a people pleaser, right? So I just try to push through, and that was, and it's a reminder not to do that. Like, self-care is important, and we got to do it. That's it. We just got to do it. You got to do the good self-care, right? So so that's really where it's at. So again, thank you. Episode's down. Here's the fresh episode. Cha-ching. All right. Winding down summer, man. It's so fucking wild to me that we're in the end of August already. I And I know that, part of my favorite actually is this is kind of crazy. I love late summer, early fall. So this is getting into my favorite time of year. I love end of August, moving into September. And Halloween is like my absolute favorite holiday. Halloween is, I was going to try to repeat that again. Part of the Vertigo thing is this is the words that Sean makes up. Yep. I make up all kinds of words. Halloween holiday is what I was trying to spit out. Is Halloween is my favorite holiday. Fuck it. There we go. We said it. So I really look forward to that. Trying to figure out what I want my Labrador to be. I don't know that she's as impressed as I am. I found a lion's mane at Walmart. I thought it'd be pretty cool to dress her up in lion's mane. I don't know. I am one of those pet parents, I guess. Like I especially labs. If anybody's a lab owner, labs are like humans on four legs. Like there, I am 100% convinced that there is a person inside of my lab. Like, yeah, they are, and I know a lot of dog owners are going to say, yeah, my dog too. Listen, there are a lot of breeds. I had a Shih Tzu who even looked like I went to I went to McDonald's one night, right? Late night run. I cannot fucking talk. This is the part of the Vertigo episode where Sean learns how to speak. Okay. I went on a late night McDonald's run with my Shih Tzu at one point. This was years and years and years ago, right? And I got to get a picture of the Shih Tzu. I'll try to figure out how to add it into this video thing because I think that it can be done. But anyway, so actually, you know what? I'm going to just do it the like not tech way. I'm going to find the picture on my phone because I know that I have it. And then I'm just going to show it to the camera. But I had a Shih Tzu who very much had human-like features. It was kind of creepy and weird. I can't find it. And I'm not going to sit here and scroll through everything. So I show up at this late night run to McDonald's and the window attendant opens the window. I can't remember if it was to get the food or to pay, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, he goes, dude, why does your dog look like a person? I'm like, fuck, I know. It's so weird because she did. She looked like a person. It was really weird. And so, yeah, so I do believe that there are many breeds that have people-like qualities, but labs are the exception. Labs, anybody who's a lab owner will most likely agree with me. If you own a lab, a Labrador Retriever, doesn't matter the color, black, yellow, chocolate, whatever, then I guarantee you that you would agree that they are people. They are people. And where was I going with that? I lost it. Yeah, see, this is why it's important to stay on track. But the ADHD just doesn't let me because I've got to tell this story. And by the time I'm done with the story, I don't know where I was going with it. Y'all know where I was going with it? Rewind it back. Anyway. So yeah. So I'm looking for a Halloween costume for my lab because for some reason I think that, she would like to dress up like a lion. I mean, why not? Really, she just looks at me like this is embarrassing. Like, why do you do this to me? But it's for a good laugh, and people enjoy it, especially kids. I got grandkids, so the grandkids get a kick out of it. So, when they see her, when they see her in general, I've got pictures of my youngest, my grandson, just laying. That's the other awesome thing about labs, right? He's just like laying on top of her, and she doesn't even care. We had my son and I had taken the kids fishing, and Max is my youngest grandson, and he was just like laying on her, just flat out laying on her. She's just like, I got pictures of it. She just does not give a fuck, man. She's just like cool. So it was pretty cool, and that's the other great thing about lab. I am a lab. I love my lab. Indy is my girl, man. She's not in the studio today, so it's kind of weird. I'm missing that vibe, but anyway. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode because I really exuded. Is that the right word? This is time to learn English with Sean. It is time. I really put out a lot of energy doing the pod that I then took down, but so this is just going to be kind of a quick one. Because again, like I was saying on the pod that I took down, I really don't have a solid topic, and it's really just because my week was just like I said, it was just this roller coaster, and it's just life, man. It's just the stuff that everybody goes through, But I think sometimes if you're an ADHDer, then you know this. It just hits different, and then you have that dopamine crash. And I think I talked about this in prior episodes. With ADHD, today's high can lead to tomorrow's low, and what it is, it's a dopamine crash. Your brain releases a bunch of dopamine because you're trying to stay focused. You're trying to do whatever the thing, and then it leads to this crash, and that's kind of where I was at yesterday. And like I said, I need to it's a good reminder, and this is also a good reminder for all of you who tune in, is it's important to practice good self-care, and take care of yourself. Like, take a break, take a minute. It's absolutely fine, and I just don't allow that. But so I want to jump ahead. I want to talk a little bit about what's on my playlist because I'm really excited. So my sister, months and months and months ago, had sent me this song by an artist named Noah Kahan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I would pronounce it Kahan, Kahan. I do believe. Let me just double check it. I've got it dialed up on my phone already. I do believe. So let's take a look. Noah, Kahan is how I would pronounce it. So Kahan. He's a folk artist, and so I absolutely, it's crazy. I do really enjoy folk music. I listen to and I don't know if I've ever brought this up on the pod before, but up here in Central New York, there's a local radio station called TK99. They play classic rock, and I've definitely talked about TK99 before. TK99 and K-Rock are like my two go-to radio stations, and I still listen to terrestrial radio. I love radio. Always have. That would have been my if I had thought about it when I got out of high school, I would have went to college actually for broadcasting. But anyway, and I still could, I guess, right? I mean, it's never too late, they say. Anyway, my sister sent me this artist. Okay, so yeah, I'm all over the place again. Hi, welcome to Vertigo. This is the podcast that will make your head spin. Folk music. TK99. Let me tie all this together for y'all. All right. I wish I had like a little spinning head. That would be a cool graphic. Just the head going, because it would remind me, like, Sean, stay on topic. You're spinning, buddy. There is a radio program that is every Sunday morning on TK99. It's called Blue Moon Cafe. And I love it. They play a lot of softer rock, like stuff like Tom Petty, maybe some Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan for sure, Peter, Paul, and Mary. Who else would be in there? I think you get the gist, though. Grateful Dead, that style of music. And so I really enjoy listening to it. It's just, it's nice, calm background music. And, but they play a lot of folk. And I do really enjoy folk. And I don't talk a lot about that on the show. I'm so much, rock, metal, whatever, that I kind of forget that there are other genres that do seep into my playlist, folk being one of them. And I would say modern folk, like Zach Bryan, I would kind of put in that category of modern folk. Even maybe a little bit of Chris Stapleton. I know that they're more labeled country artists. To me, though, they're more Americana or more folk in their music, and that's just personal preference, I guess. But anyway, Noah Kahan is definitely in that realm, and it wasn't Peter, Paul, and Mary I was trying to think of. Actually, it was Simon and Garfunkel. I remember with Simon and Garfunkel. I graduated in 1994 from high school. And I remember there was such a resurgence of 60s music in the 90s, to the fact that I even remember that MTV had a graphic that they would show, and it would be the 90s spinning, and it would stop up that side down, and it would be the 60s, and then it would spin back and be the 90s, and so because there was such an era, there was they tried to recreate Woodstock in the 90s. There was just this weird appeal. I remember friends in high school were like huge into the Grateful Dead. The Grateful Dead had a huge resurgence in the 90s. Pink Floyd had a huge resurgence. So a lot of those late 60s, bands, that kind of hippie, acid test, jam bands. Phish was obviously really big in the 90s. I think the 90s were kind of like the first big push or run for Phish. I could be wrong about that. I had to ask my sister. Kelly followed Phish around. I was always envious of that. Like, not that she followed Phish around, but just that she had the gall to just do it, I've always been envious of that, because I'm so reserved. I hold back so easy. It's kind of weird. I need to get over that. Trying to get over that, actually. So Noah Kahan, here we are. Vertigo Nation. First of all, if this is your first time listening to a Vertigo podcast, welcome. Please take a second and hit that subscribe button. If you like this kind of like banter, why not join the fun? Because Vertigo Podcast is the podcast that will make your head spin. That's right. And we've added video. I mean, we've come into the 21st century, right? Yeah. Because in the 1900s, we were in the 20th century. Yeah, we already had this discussion. A little Easter egg. Go back and find it in a prior episode. We did talk about the 21st century, which is still wild to me that I would sit there as a young lad playing with a calculator, trying to figure out how old I was going to be. I remember the year 2000 was the year 2000 was supposed to be this incredible, like we were going to be like the Jetsons, flying around in cars that hovered, and I guess drones are kind of close, but they're not human occupied, right? Anybody still watch the Jetsons? Anybody even know what the fuck I'm talking about? I don't know. Anybody miss those classic cartoons? The Jetsons, the Flintstones, the whole Hanna-Barbera era of cartoons. There were so many. Dopey Dog. I can't even remember. Then the 80s had some great cartoons too. Captain Caveman. I loved Captain Caveman. Y'all who are young right now are missing out on so much shit. There was so much good shit in the 70s and 80s, man. And of course, immediately my brain's like, cocaine. Like, I don't even know. I never have done cocaine, to be honest with you. But, in the 80s were the cocaine cowboys. Well, shit. Fuck. Anyway, yeah, I've digressed. Noah Kahan. Like how we bring it back, man. We always bring it back. So my sister sent me this song by Noah Kahan called not Ready, Willing and Able. Willing and Able. So, I've talked about this before. I love, one of the things for me with music is lyrics. I am one of those dudes that I like the song to have a good beat. Obviously, the music is what draws you in. But if a songwriter has good lyrics, man, that's just like icing on the cake, right? I must want cake because I'm talking a lot about frosting today. Actually, full disclosure, there's this donut shop in Oswego. I live in Oswego, New York. And there is a donut shop called Heidi Ho's. And she makes gourmet, like fresh donuts. Well, they open at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings, and I was there at 7:57, baby, waiting to get in that door and get the freshest gourmet donuts, and they're so fucking good. Oh, my God. So good. I got this maple bacon frosted donut, man. And I know people outside of Central New York are not going to know what I'm talking about. We have a thing in Central New York, and it's really wild because it's only a Central New York thing, and I didn't know this. I went to Pennsylvania to a Dunkin' Donuts, right? Because Dunkin' Donuts, a national chain, right? And I ordered what they call a headlight donut. Now, for those outside of the central New York region, I'm going to explain to you what a headlight donut is. I wish I had a picture of one. I don't. But a headlight donut is a donut. So I'm going to assume that the world knows what a donut is. If not, Google that shit. It's a donut with chocolate frosting on the top of the donut, and then a white buttercream frosting like hat. I don't know. It's like a hat on your donut. It looks like, and they're good. I do know that some other states nearby, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, whatever, I think they call them black and whites. I think I could be wrong, but in central New York, it's a headlight donut, and they're fucking amazing. They are just the shit. So yeah. So if you've never had a headlight donut, if you're ever in the central New York region, order yourself a headlight donut. You won't be disappointed. But anyway, she makes at Heidi Ho Donuts these headlight donuts that are just incredible because they're so fresh. I mean, they were made that morning. They were made at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So they're so good. Oh yeah, I love me a headlight donut and some coffee. Gets the sugar going for sure. Yep, nice sugary breakfast. But you gotta love it. But the maple bacon donut was also one that I purchased today, and boy, that was fucking good too. What does that have to do with Noah Kahan? Absolutely nothing other than I was enjoying a cup of coffee, eating my donut, and listening to the song Willing and Able that my sister sent to me months ago. And I mean months ago. But it was one of those things where it's like I listened to it when she sent it to me, and it was like, yeah, that's a great song. But it wasn't until recent when I sat and really listened to it that the lyrics really hooked me. And it's just one of those really emotionally charged songs that I think almost anybody could relate somehow to. So that's really been on my playlist a lot, is the Willing and Able by Noah Kahan or however you say it. But I want to read a little bit of the lyrics to the song just because it's so good. And yeah, I'm just going to read it. So, when I left the room, when my weight left the room, did you take a deep breath? I stole the beer and drove home. There was only one left. And I wrestle the feeling that you're still thinking about that. Wide awake in your room, just seething about that. When I make my flight, I'm the devil. But when I stay the night, then we drink. And we stay up and fight about the childhood lie that we both had the courage to leave. I'm willing and able. If you want to kick this rock around, if you've got a bone to pick with me, if you've got a flag planted in the ground, well, I'll stay here till morning. We can fight like we used to fight, bony-limbed, red-faced, and teary-eyed under the glow of the TV light. I'd be willing and able. And this is the part I think that really, again, this is by Noah Kahan. Willing and Able is the name of the song. This is the part for me that really, I think, hits home. Look at you leaving again. It's all you know how to do. Go ahead and take the last of the drinks. The world belongs to you. They say you're a light. All I see is a shadow. Those verses are giving me goosebumps as I'm reading them to you. And I got to be honest, fighting back even a little tear, actually. Look at you leaving again. It's all you know how to do. Yeah, that hits home for me. I'm a runner. I am not a confrontational person. Dave Chappelle did a Netflix comedy special pretty recent. And in the beginning of the comedy special, he talks about, and I can't remember the exact line that he used, but sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the dove. Something to that extent. And boy, when I heard that, I really just like sat back in my chair for a minute because I thought about that. Like, he would always say, Mama, I don't want to fight. Mama, I don't want to. You got to watch that because I'm not doing it justice. But it was basically like, honey, sometimes you got to be the lion so that you can be the dove that you were meant to be, you know? And I feel like that sometimes, a lot of times, I guess, you know? because really, what I really just want is peace. I just want to be at peace. I don't really know what that looks like or how to explain that, but that's what I want. And I often find myself running from high tension situations, and so that line in the song really hit me. And then the next line that hit me um, was the part where he says, "They say you're light, but all I see is a shadow." That part really kind of struck me too, because that's really kind of what I was alluding to in the podcast that I had recorded and then taken down. Was sometimes I feel like it's just really hard to stay positive. I feel like it takes so much work, to stay positive, and sometimes with little reward. And it was just a nice reminder that it's important, to allow yourself to have those down days, but not to get lost in it. I tend to be the person who can get lost very easily in the down, and that it's okay. It's good to acknowledge, but you got to get back up. You got to dust yourself off. And I also do think that there is something to positivity, and I do think that there is something to being positive and being in a positive mindset. And so I think, as difficult as it can be sometimes to be in the light, it's a good place to be. Um, so yeah, this song just kind of hit me, especially this morning. And I wanted to be a little bit more organized with my thoughts than I was on the prior pod. So I thought it would be good to just kind of get on and share that. And like I said, for those who listened to the pod before I took it down, thank you. I hope I didn't, cause any, I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's down now anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. I just want, for those who did listen, I appreciate that, and hope it was no cause for concern, because it was a pretty dark place that I was in, and I rambled way too much. So yeah, there you go. So end of summer, fall is coming. It's kind of wild, man. School's starting back up. I never would have thought, like, yeah, time just flies, man. It's so wild to me how time just flies. So I hope y'all are enjoying the end of summer, getting in those last, barbecues, camping trips, vacations, whatever. I mean, we still got, September is still a solid month, at least for us in Central New York. So we get all 4 seasons here in Central New York. So we have, sun, and then we have snow. So get out there and enjoy before the snow flies. I really appreciate for everybody digging in and listening to Vertigo. I hope this podcast has made your head spin. Enjoy, be well, and love one another. See ya on the flip.